Got a minute, don't know. Got a minute of your time. Got a minute of your. Hush up, gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its sides. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye. You hear and you say.
Well, it will be. And hey, we're
we don't know.
Movie audio and system audio muted. Are we muted?
Let me see.
System audio. Okay, so we are having like the biggest. No, it says it shouldn't be muted. Let us know if we're muted. I don't know where we're gonna see the comments.
Okay, hold on. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, we're not muted. Hey, how are you, people? Kind of a late reaction, delayed response, delayed.
Delayed everything. We are working with a new system, with a new layout. If you notice, I am on the opposite side.
Yeah.
This is like, I feel like this is not my good side.
Either side is not your good side.
But seriously, I'm kind of like, how do I sit? Like.
Oh, but you know what?
What?
They're gonna be able to see your hair now.
Oh, that side. You tell me if you ever see my nest. Anyway, welcome everybody to our podcast, From Vision to Success.
From Vision to Success.
Yes, we're excited to be back. We took a couple weeks off. Well, one was Family Day.
Yeah.
And the second one was, I think my kids were like uber sick, or I was sick.
No, Mike.
Or Mike was sick. No, I was
were
sick. And then last week we were going to do it, but then Mike was super sick. He was throwing up. So
yeah, she calls me up or she messages me. She's like, Mike just threw up on me.
No, it wasn't.
And I'm like, that's gross. She's just cleaning
It wasn't on me, but he did. Like I rushed upstairs. I was like, all right, let's get ready because we got to go. Right? I'm always running late. Anyway, but he's like, babe, I'm sorry. I was just throwing up. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're not going.
So we have a new setup.
Yeah, we do.
We have a new setup. So I rearranged my office. One of the biggest reasons, whenever you have a studio or whenever you have office space, one of the biggest things that you're always fighting for is real estate, like
maximizing.
No, table real estate, table space, right?
Well, it like truth be told is because you also had a bedroom in here. Like he moved into here. He had blankets and pillows. His underwear laying around everywhere.
That is such a lie. That is such a
like,
lie.
Seriously, like I know we're like siblings, but can you just like keep certain things to yourself?
That is so gross. I've never had just my underwear laying in my studio, which is the worst thing that you can possibly say in a live broadcast.
I am kidding. I am joking.
Thank you.
I am joking.
That never happened.
That took it. Maybe that was flirting with like where the line is. I'm sorry about that.
So gross.
I remember. I think upstairs you have some. When we came over on Friday, we came over for a games night.
Yeah.
A couple days ago.
Yeah.
And on your main floor, you have some like. I read a quote that says, "Nothing online is ever private."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just made me think of that. I was like, oh, shoot, that no longer is private. I'm so sorry. I just outed you like that.
It's out there.
It's out there.
And if anybody out there, like, if they take like bits of this, I'm done. My whole career's gone later.
I know.
So talk about conflict resolution.
Yes. How do we deal with our conflicts, Miguel?
I need a new broadcast partner.
He's open for suggestions, resumes. I'm always about to get fired.
Yeah.
There's been multiple.
I'm not your boss.
I know it's true that's why I keep showing up.
I know.
I know. I'm recommitted to my water intake.
So you know what I realized though?
What?
We've done this topic before. Conflict resolution.
It's a topic that needs to continue to be brought up.
English. Do you know who we did it with?
Who?
Jason.
Palmer?
Yeah.
Oh dang! Did you review it? Do you remember anything he said?
No, and the reason why I'm saying that is because when he was here, because remember what he graduated for, right?
Oh, yes. He graduated for mediation, I believe. A mediator. He wanted to become a mediator, but he graduated some.
He minored
kind of-
in mediator or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he majored in something else and then he minored in mediation. And yeah, so we had him on the show because of that conflict resolution. So hang on, my ADHD.
A cable came up undone, and he's like, "I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it now." I wish you had the same like drive to pick up your underwear. I'm kidding.
So-
I'm kidding. Just
Can you guys do us a favor? This one's messed up. Can you do us a favor? Can you write something on the chat just to see if it's coming through? Again, this is a brand new system, and so we're trying to figure it out. And we're noticing that more than 35 people are logging in.
100 people are viewing us.
100.
No, I did that. I did that just to make sure because I also have I have it on here. So if we're able to see, and we can see it real time. Did you see that? I'll do another heart. Oh, maybe it's not real time.
Can you actually, seeing it's open, can you write something on the comment there?
Sure, I can.
See if it comes in.
Sure.
Oh, look. Oh,
It does?
All-
Oh, Jimmy, thank you.
okay. So we have this new program, and with the new setup, with the new monitor, we got a brand new camera, and just everything it's brand new, right? So we're just trying things out. So Jimmy, thank you so much. Love you, miss you, and I'm glad that you've logged in.
Yes, absolutely.
So going back to this whole thing, conflict
underwear?
resolution.
Conflict resolution, yes.
Conflict resolution. So again, there's a lot of things that we don't talk about that we talk about in the pre-show.
Yeah, because so today I was listening to a different podcast, and it said that those that are best equipped to teach are those that are going through the very same things that you're teaching, right?
Yeah.
And I'll have you know, I have a few conflicts in my life going on.
Yes.
Like some have been resolved, other ones have not been resolved, but
Yeah.
I think it's just a part of life.
And so without going into detail, because we would be announcing some names over online, and so we don't want to do that. But you just came out of a conflict resolution.
Yeah, that was able to. So I have two. I would say I had the conflict. I had conflict yesterday.
Yeah.
I just kind of came. It came because of my lack of self-awareness, to tell you the truth.
So how can we tell the people what happened to you without going into detail?
Okay.
That's what I want. Because I think there's a massive lesson to be taught here. And when you did what you did, I don't want to say it made me rethink this whole thing, but explosions are good.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
Because they happen, right? Sometimes they happen,
Yeah.
but it's how you handle them that
Right.
either helps you to grow and deepen a relationship, or it
Right.
helps you, or what ends up happening is it like tears you apart.
Right. So
But yeah, I do have two conflict. Well, I had one conflict was resolved yesterday. I have an ongoing conflict that has not been resolved. And I feel like with that conflict, it's technically just kind of making it worse as time goes by. I don't feel like it's because of me, because I've done things to try to like mediate or
So-
get better.
nobody cares about that one.
Okay, you want to know about the
I want-
juicy one, the explosive one.
The one that you threw a grenade. And so this was her description this morning. She's like, I threw a grenade and exploded in my face. And I'm like, anyways, it's so good. And I wish we can go into
Okay,
detail.
I can give you the overall picture. Because in all honesty, so I'll
Yeah.
be very mindful. So
Yeah.
what happened is that I had let me try to think. So what happened is that somebody had said something, right? Which created an automatic.
We're not telling you the setting because that's going to give it away.
Yeah, I can't tell you the setting. But somebody had said something, which in reality, I perceived it in one way, and it affected the way that I felt, because all of a sudden I felt my heart go. Drrr. I don't know if you ever hear somebody say something that maybe doesn't align with your current views, and you like feel your heart here, you feel it not.
Yeah.
And
So did you take it personal?
A little bit, I guess. I guess that's probably why I said something, because I realized that people at this point, I realized that people are different. I always say that, but then at times when I'm in the midst of conflict, I want people to handle situations the way that I would handle them. And that's
Okay.
why I threw the
Okay.
grenade, right? Because I was like, I don't understand why this is a problem, because this is what I'm doing, XYZ. These are the same expectations of me, XYZ, and I don't understand,
And
right?
why aren't you doing what I'm doing when I'm busier than you?
I guess so. I guess in a sense, I was just in my very lack of self-awareness and in myself, because we tend to respond out of our own autobiography and how we
Yeah.
live our life. And that's a huge no-no, right? But it happens. I mean, like, it happens to me, and it happens. And the good thing is being self-aware and being able to change that dialogue, right? So that's exactly what I did. I made a comment. It blew up on my face because obviously the other person, who I highly respect, by the way, took it in the way that it was perceived. Like it was like, you know what? We're not the same person. That's fine that you do X, Y, Z, but we're not the same. And I feel judged. I feel this. I feel that. Which then what I try to do is I try to dig myself out of the grenade and try to defend myself instead of taking a moment to just take it in and to accept someone for what they're feeling.
So if you can follow this right now, check this out. Hang on one second. I know it sounds so complicated.
I threw a grenade, it exploded in my face, and then in the midst of like the explosion, I'm like trying to dig myself out, which is not working.
But here's if you can follow along, this is what happened, okay? If you can follow along. So someone else
Yeah, someone else.
said something or wanted to do something.
Yeah, they
Right?
said something, and it wasn't even directed to me. In
Right.
all honesty, it was not directed to me at all.
It was a group setting.
It was a group setting.
Okay.
It was directed for everybody. It was
Right.
just trying to gain understanding over a certain situation, right?
Right.
But it's just the way that I interpret it.
So here's what happened, right? So someone, a third party, said something.
Yeah.
Then this one person took offense to it. And then when they said something, Maria took offense to what this second person said. And then Maria had to clap back. Her Latina came out. It's like,
My
no,
Latina,
you didn't.
my Latina was showing a little too intensely at that point.
Yeah, and then
in a
she-
calm setting, as calm as I could be.
Yeah. And so, but here's the thing is, then she threw the grenade to clap back to the second person. Then the second person, and then there was another
There was
person.
a missile.
Yeah. Then,
No. There wasn't. There was only like a 3 setting. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There was another person.
No, but it happened first, second, and then the third person had said something, and that's when I actually said
Okay,
something.
so you're the
and
fourth.
then
Then you're the fourth.
I am the fourth.
Yeah. So then first person said something. Second person said something as offense to it.
It wasn't offense. It was more seeking clarity.
Seeking clarity, and then third person chimed in. Right.
It was in support of the second
Of the
person.
second person. I hope you're following along. And then
It's a complicated story.
it is without going into detail, right? And then so Maria took offense, so she said something, and then person 2 and 3 took offense to what Maria said, and then person 1 just walked away.
Person was like,
Which is awesome. When you were telling me the story, so it all started from person 1, right?
yeah, well, it was, yeah, I would say it was communication between person 1 to person 2 and 3.
Right.
And then I didn't need to give my 2 cents, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But I guess it just came from a place where I was also trying to understand. So I said my 2 cents, but I didn't say my 2 cents in a way like, help me understand what you mean. Help me understand how you're feeling. Help me understand like how this can make it better.
Yeah.
Rather, I was like, I have XYZ. I'm expected to do XYZ. I wasn't talking like that, but I was like, I just don't
Yeah.
understand what the problem is, right? Which wasn't the most empathetic way to come across.
Right. And all because of 2 and 3 said something, and then you were like, whatever. So, and
Yeah, it was honestly, it was me.
So here's the thing, and here's where I want to compliment Maria, which hardly happens. It's
I mean, I do tease you quite a bit, right?
I know. For the amount of time that you tease me, we should not be friends. So I'm just letting you know.
I know. I should really like dial it back.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
We've always talked about like all the families, because there's a bunch of us, like 7 of us that were here on Friday, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so we talked about like a cruise, all seven of
Oh,
us, like all
it was
couples.
amazing.
Yeah, I think I would throw Maria overboard.
No, because I feel like we have more of this like teasing relationship when we're on the podcast. When we're on the podcast, or
Yeah.
when like it's just you and I.
Yeah.
I think when our
No.
spouses are there,
No,
maybe you don't feel like
screw
it.
that. You came on pretty hard.
Guns
like,
blazing?
Yeah, guns blazing on Friday.
Okay,
You were talking so much
Quick
trash.
side story: the last time we had gotten together, because usually we pray before we eat, right? Miguel, seriously, this guy did a 10-minute prayer. We're like, so
I was blessing the food.
for 10 minutes. We were like, oh my gosh. So last time, so we came here like 2 days ago, and I was like, can we just keep it to like under a minute? 60 seconds or less.
You're such a jerk.
It was like a political,
I swear.
like you were running a campaign in
I,
that
I
prayer.
was just going to say I should run for government and be like, so this one claps back, whether it's on the podcast or in person or in a public setting, it doesn't matter. But
yeah.
I would throw her off the. You know what? You know what we should do? So all of us should go on a cruise, and we should do a podcast from the cruise.
Oh, it'd be so much fun. I really do want to do a cruise together.
Yeah.
I would love to do the Virgin cruise though, because everything's included, nothing's extra. Though obviously you pay
No,
premium.
the cruises, no cruise, like all the cruises, everything's included.
I just want to really do the fitness classes that are on Virgin Cruise.
No, but I'm saying all in the cruises, everything's already included in the package, like everything.
No, some things you
Shows,
have to.
food.
Oh yeah. But some things you have to pay additional, like gratuity. You pay additional. Drinks you pay additional. There's certain things that you have to pay additional. Even on a cruise, majority of it is included,
Yeah.
but there are some additional costs associated. Virgin, it's like everything. You don't like what you pay is what you see, and that's it. You don't have to worry about additional
really?
charges after.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different, but obviously it probably works out around the same price anyway because you're just paying everything up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you don't use it, you're still paying for
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get back to our story.
So back to the
Oh, here, there's Josh. Hey, I don't like that you've switched sides. I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, this is not my good side.
Really?
Yes, I'm like,
So
we should switch back.
I've
Anyway.
been teaching seminary.
Twitching?
I've been twerking seminary. I'm talking about the gospel. So I've been teaching. So I taught seminary this morning to like, I don't know, like 12 kids or something like that in the morning. And I came in and the tables weren't set up. And so I set the tables according to my liking. And so it's completely different. So before it's almost like a U shape.
Yeah.
It's two sides and then the center.
That was before?
That was before.
So what do you have now?
So I did two V's. So I took out the center. Oh my, could we even get past the first 15 minutes of the lesson? They were so hung up on like change. And I'm like, who cares, guys? There's nobody sits in the center anyways. We're and like, no. And anyways, it was just like, people don't like change. So Josh, so suck it up, man. Okay, so going back to my thing. Again, to pay Maria a compliment, and I'll tell you why. I compliment people that do what I can't.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I'm paying you this compliment, is I can't see myself doing that.
But you have to. So, okay. So
I know you have to, and that's why I'm bringing it up.
Okay, so to tell you past the story, basically, so we have all this conflict that happened in this setting, in this like larger setting of a few number of people. I throw this grenade, it explodes in my face. My comment ends up coming across judgmental. Even though my intent was not that, it still came across that. And what I always say, like the thought that came into mind right at that point where everything was blowing up in my face was the fact that it was a quote from Stephen R. Covey, and he says, trivial things that don't seem like they matter because they have a deeper cause, and to just kind of put them under or make them seem like they're not worth your time is trampling on someone's sacred ground.
Sacred grounds.
So that I like, honestly, that thought came and I was like, okay, Maria, you got to take a step back, right? So blew up, conflict, all these things going up. We finish, and then what happens is everybody's starting to like kind of go their way. And I think to myself, I feel my heart thumping, and I'm like, right? And I'm like, no, I can't let this go on, right? So what I've learned is that the best way to deal with conflict is to face it head on.
There it is.
So that's what I did.
And that's what I can't do that.
Well, that's because I've had a number of I've had a lot of practice with conflict, in all honesty.
Yeah, Mike tells me.
Yeah, so I'm like, I've had a lot of practice. So I'm like, because I'm learning about it and because I'm trying to do better, I push myself to do things that are uncomfortable. So I went over, I apologized, I I allowed what needed to be said to be said. I took it in and I appreciated the perspective. And instead of trying to explain where I came from, I just accepted it for what it was. It didn't matter what I intended to say. What mattered is how the other person received it, right? That's what matters at the end. But I have to say that it was the most beautiful experience at the same time because I learned so much about the other person. I appreciated the other person in such a deeper level. And I truly believe in my heart that it forged our relationship to be a stronger relationship. And we need it because I'm like, we see each other all the time. There's no way that I can maintain conflict with this person.
And before this explosion took place, how was your relationship with this person?
It was okay. It was like
It was just okay?
it was just okay because I'm like when you're working together with different people, sometimes you don't know everybody and you just kind of take for face value what people say, not truly trying to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I feel like this experience helped me to, instead of trying to be understood, to understand them instead and not be so worried about me, but more worried about the other person.
So something interesting happened that you told me. And again, trying to look for ways to not make this as specific as possible, right? Because, I mean, for privacy reasons and stuff like that, we don't want to call anybody out. But you approached this person, said, I am so sorry, right? So not person 3, just person 2, right?
No, person 3, because
person
everything
3.
happened after person 3. But I did approach 2 and 3 together.
Okay, so you approached person 2 and 3 together. And then the male counterpart, right? This person said to you, I come to this place because of you.
Well, one of the one of the reasons.
One of the reasons is because this person was, I don't want to say complaining, but just stressed that they're not able to live up to your energy and everybody else's expectations, right? Because they have.
Yeah, I would hope that that's not the case. I'm like, but one of the things that they did say is that it was such a kind compliment because after having this explosion and me throwing this grenade, and then in the midst of the grenade, me trying to climb out by like making excuses for myself in reality, right? And then realizing that I have to stop, and then we make this connection and we kind of get past this initial conflict. He does pay me this compliment, and he's like, and what they said is basically like, like a small portion of the reason why I enjoy coming here is because your energy helps me to feel
right,
like brighter
right.
or whatever it is that they said, right?
That he enjoys your presence, right?
Yeah, and I honestly at that point I wanted to cry because
what's new? Like everybody, you say hi to
know.
Maria.
I'm always crying, honestly, and it was such a beautiful moment that would not have happened. And it wasn't because of the compliment, but it was a beautiful moment of two human beings, I felt, at least in my part, coming together and having a deeper appreciation and understanding.
Yeah.
It was a positive experience. Not all my conflict experiences go that well in reality, but this was a beautiful moment.
It clears the air, right?
100%. And what I loved about it is that it helped me to appreciate the other person so much more. So much. Like, I already appreciated them before. They are a great example to our family. They have all these amazing qualities, right? So I did appreciate them before. It's not like I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But sometimes with communication, we all communicate differently. There was a little bit of friction because of that.
Yeah.
But in all reality, I truly feel blessed to have had this moment where things improved. Like it was a beautiful moment. I was very grateful for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. It's and the reason I'm the person that I hate confrontation, and I think we all do. I'm not like a special case or anything. That I don't know if I would have had after an explosion the way that it happened. And again, we're not paying tribute to like legit what took place, right? Like we're trying to be as detailed but as vague as possible at the same time. After that moment, I think I just would have walked away myself in my imperfection and just come home and complained. I was like, why is this happening? Why can this person understand me? I would have done something eventually.
Yeah.
But then I would have been sitting with that venom for a while.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So like I told you, I've had a lot of conflict in my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like more recently I've learned it's easier to deal with what's happening right in the moment
Yeah.
than walking away and allowing feelings to fester. Because had I walked away, 100% feelings would have festered. I would have been annoyed. I would have gone and complained. I would have been like, I would have put myself in a stand and being like, everything that I said was right. I don't understand what the problem. When in reality, it wasn't.
Was Mike there?
Mike was there.
So he saw the explosion.
Yeah. But I love Mike. Mike, for the most part, I think because of, like, I was talking to him about it after, and he's like, you know what? He's like, because I'm like, it kind of sucked the way that it came about, because obviously you don't want to have hard feelings or have this kind of miscommunications. But one of the things that he said, he's like, I'm glad you said something, because what happened, and like the fact that I said something as unintentionally hurtful as it was, because it was unintentional. I wasn't meaning to hurt anyone, right? But it did lead us to a path of clarity and a path of deeper appreciation. Like, I appreciate that person so much more. And I think just overall my day got even better, and that person shined even more. It was
shined.
Shoned.
This person
Shoned.
This person shinned even more.
I know. I was like, whatever, shinned, shoon.
This shined.
But yeah, it was. But that's what we're talking about today, right? Conflict resolution. I do have to say that a big part of how I'm handling conflict right now is because of the book that I've just finished studying for the last 4 months.
I can reiterate that time and time again, like how important it is for us to do self-development.
100%. Had I not been doing that, there's no way that quote would have been able to pop into my head and me handle the situation in the way that I did. Like, you cannot use tools that you don't have.
You can't use tools that you don't have.
I mean, it's all good if the tools are at Home Depot, but what good does it do you?
Dang, girl, this is like the second time that you're like dropping truth bombs.
Second time? How about every podcast? No,
not every podcast. Let's go back. Let's be real here.
The replay.
Let's be real here.
Get me a little humble. Maria said this. Maria couldn't pronounce this. What does she even mean here?
How many times have we had like live therapy sessions here? Oh my gosh.
So true.
Yeah. No. Okay. So that's good. So you can't use the tools that you don't have. So it is so important to do these. To do your human development stuff and all that other good stuff. Cool. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because again, I would have just come home and eventually 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month down the line, I would have approached it.
A month? No, I don't think you would have waited that long. There's no way you could wait that long.
I would have. You know why?
In that setting though?
So here's the thing is, right? Because there's no way that I would have approached it without a plan.
Oh, you needed a plan. You needed a
I needed to figure it out first. So I don't think you're right. I don't think it would have gone to a month, but I would be willing to wait a month if I didn't have a plan in place. And so I would not approach it until I would feel comfortable that I knew. Have you ever seen? Do you remember Endgame?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Was it? I don't know if it was the first one or the second one when Doctor Strange was about to give the time stone.
Yeah.
And so he's like. And he's like looking at all the possible events.
Yeah.
Then he said that he foresaw like a million possible outcomes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's me.
So you would have had to kind of know all these outcomes and then
pick
this is the thing, you would have suffered so much.
But that's what I'm saying, right? I would have lived with that poison, because it is poison at the end of the day, right? I would have lived with that poison until I was comfortable that I could bring resolution to that conflict. So I would not be able just to go in head first and then have another grenade explode in my face and be like, okay, I just made something from good to worse or bad to worse. And so I would have been like, okay, I got to come home. It's going to fester. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Okay, so if I say this, what could happen? If I do this, what could happen here? And I would have looked for all these possible different outcomes, and then I would have chosen the right words, the right time, the right space. But that's why I admire you, because you just went in like, I just got to deal with it. The not the blanket, the pan is hot. I just, I got to go in and I got to figure this out. And so it just came out. It came out good.
I think one of the things that I have really had to kind of dive deep into is the fact that people for the most part, regardless of whatever hard exterior there is that they're tender, and they like, everybody wants a sense of belonging and everybody wants to be heard. And I think that thought process really helped me in this situation.
Which is person 2 and 3's original comment. They just want to be heard and clarification.
Yeah,
And you
just
took
want,
it personal.
yeah, that was the
Yeah.
exactly right. So I like kind of thinking about this and having given you this experience. Let's give our audience some actionable steps. What
So-
kind of things do you think are important in dealing with conflict?
So I'm glad that we're taking it back. So before we take that, because I do have an actionable steps in mind, I want to hear from the audience, if you guys can. What would you have done if
You throw a grenade, it explodes on your face.
yeah, if you screw up as large and as big as Maria did,
100%.
yeah, right.
Listen,
If you mess up as big as you do, what would you have done? Would you have walked away and try and fix it later, or would you just go in head first and just figure it out?
in all honesty, I think I wanted to fix it because I did have an experience of another conflict that I just I'm in the process of like solving, which is taking a year, where I took that approach, where
Oh.
I allowed it to, I waited, I wanted to come up with a plan. When I confronted the person, I just came forward with a plan instead of tackling what had gone on to create that conflict within myself. The
Yeah.
other person was kind of oblivious to the conflict, which is
Yeah.
totally okay. The conflict was within me. I tried to work out as much as I could on my own, but
Have we talked about this one?
we've talked about this one too.
Is it
It's part 2. Like, we'll talk about it after, but not to get into details. But I'm like, so I think having come out of that experience, which honestly, it's been like a year and a half of an ongoing conflict.
Oh, yeah.
And so I took that
I
approach.
thought you meant something else.
No. It was, so I took that approach, and it was hard, and it was like, I was bitter. I became a
Yeah.
bitter person. And knowing
Yeah.
that I didn't want that same experience, I think because I had that to reflect on, I was like, I can't let this go on like this other experience that I had.
So here's the thing: is talking to you right now. What is happening here? Josh just sent me a message. What?
Oh, I don't know.
No, but he sent me a message on Instagram. No. So here's the funny thing: is I've been very aware of your
Of
other
all my conflicts.
No, your other conflict that's taken a year. And
You know all my conflicts.
I know all of your conflict. Oh, frick, heck yeah. But
Do I have a lot of conflicts?
yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. We have conflict. Yeah, we have conflict.
That's why those who can't teach. That's why we're teaching you.
But here's the thing. Here's what we were talking about. We'd probably walk away. So here's Pam. What is Pam saying? Let's add this to the chat here. I would probably walk away and think about the right way to handle it, as I had things get worse trying to handle it as at the moment. And that's me
Yeah.
right there, right? 100%. So here's the thing: is that other conflict that you're talking about, I've been the one that's been telling you to talk to this person.
Oh, yeah. Did you?
100%.
I don't know about that. Were you just fueling the fire? I'm just kidding.
No, dude. There's no way. There's no way.
Yes, absolutely. You have been. Yeah, but it's sometimes, you know what? Confrontation is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay? So we are, at least for myself, when I head into a confrontation, I, don't want to seem emotional, and I don't want to just cry the whole time. I also don't want to come from a place that I am being like, you did this and you did this and you did this and this is why. Like, I didn't want to come from that place. So maybe it was within my own thought process that I needed to come to a resolution where I could have some actionable steps.
Yeah. Yeah. So you do then.
Yeah, so I guess
You-
it's
you took
depending
a
on the
year.
situation. It was next time though, no way I'm taking a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Pam said, I think it's depending on the situation, and I think it's depending on what's in your heart. Trust your gut. Trust that the first thing that you think of that you're like, I don't want to do that. That's the very thing you should do.
Oh.
Because that's why when that was happening, I was like, I have to talk to them, right? Like right at that point where everything was blowing up in my face,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't let this continue and fester and whatnot.
I think also the severity of the event, because if it's something that is way too big, I think there needs to be a season of cool down.
Yeah.
So because if you're, so here I think here's the difference actually. Now talking out loud, I think the difference has been is if you're coming in hot
Yeah, you don't want to be hurtful.
Yeah, if you're coming in angry or still taking it personal, and if you're coming in like I need to be heard, that conversation that you had with person 2 and 3 would have looked completely different.
Yeah.
But you came in humble.
Yeah.
You came in saying like, okay, I recognize my mistakes and actually let me try and fix this. So I think it's how you come into the situation. I think maybe that's why I take so long, is because I take it personal and I hold on to it.
Maybe you need to work through it first.
And I have to like
in order
let it
to,
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the biggest difference. So years ago, I was at a private school and I taught. I was teaching at a private school, and I found these steps. It's called conflict resolutions, and the acronym is LEAK.
Okay.
Or we created it actually at the school.
LEEK?
LEACC.
Oh, okay.
LEAK.
Okay.
Yeah.
LEACC?
LEACC.
Okay.
And so at the school, we turned it into a class, and we said, take a leak. Anytime that you're feeling angry, you need to take a leak.
You're going to remember that for sure.
So, ladies,
Go take a leak, man.
So I'm going to give you the 5 steps, which is funny enough, everything that we've been talking about has been the leak process.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to give you the steps.
Okay.
The 5 steps to take a leak. And so anytime that you are feeling angry, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to take a leak.
100%. Because if I can tell you that something like that 100% these situations are going to happen, they're going to happen. You're going to have conflict in your life. It's part of life.
Yeah. Yeah. So step number 1 is actually listen.
Mm-hmm.
L stands for listen. E is empathy.
Oh, empathy is a big one.
And big one. That was your cue, right? It's because so listen, which you did. Empathy, you actually started when this person started talking. You're like, okay, now here's the one that people have a hard time with. It's
Ed, normally it's 2 steps to take a leak, no?
No, dude. No. Rewind the video.
This is a 7-step process you're missing out. I'm a little worried about how you're handling your business.
I got to taking a leak. Hang on. How many processes?
Can we not?
1, 2.
I feel like there should be 3. No?
There is 3.
Maybe 4.
There's no way.
Okay, why are we talking about this?
The
Can
conclusion.
We please?
There's the 4th step is the conclusion, because you don't want to like pee your pants, leak your pants. This is so weird.
Anyway, getting back to the actual leak to how to handle your emotional conflict and stress.
Okay, so.
But you know what? It leads us whenever you do have to go take a leak. Remind yourself of the process of taking a leak.
So step 1 is you got to listen. Step 2 is you have to have empathy. E. This is the hard one. Step 3. A. It's accepting the fact that you might be wrong.
Yes.
Which is a tough pill to swallow.
This is the thing with that. You have to realize that you're always coming in from the context of your own life, your own experience, and what you know.
Yeah.
And that could be limited, or it could be more than what the other person has. Either way, it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
Which is a hard one where you're like, why won't they just do what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then that's why I couldn't. I think that's why I would need more than just a day. Is because it's step 3. It's the hardest pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is.
When you're in a conflict and you're saying your side and they're saying your side, all you're thinking is like, why is this person not listening to me, and why can't they understand me? And I'm like, I'm not speaking English. Like, what's going on here? Like, you think of all these vile and just hurtful things sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But that you take things so personal. And step 3, it's a huge, massive pill to swallow, accepting the fact that you actually might be wrong.
But if you do that, it's going to make life a whole lot easier.
Massive. Because, go ahead.
No, and I was going to say, it also helps you to continue learning. Because as soon as you always think that you're right, you stop learning. And
step 3 is not giving in to the other person. Mm-hmm. Remember what the step is. It's accepting the fact that you might be wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Not that you're wrong, but that you might be wrong.
And your suggestion could be right for you.
Correct.
But not right for the other person.
Which is what happened between you and person 2 and 3.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So after that, after accepting the fact that you might be wrong, then you can go into step 4, which is communication. And this is the thing that I've found very, very interesting. Remember Sandra Beatty?
Yes.
So Sandra Beatty, she went to a conference, and this is very interesting. She went to a conference, and the keynote speaker was a magician.
Okay, interesting.
And so I've attended a couple of those as well, and it's been amazing. Their interaction. Actually, no, yeah, even I did. I attended in Newmarket. There was somebody who works for the church, CES.
Okay.
He's a magician. So he was going to be in town, and he's like, I would love to do a workshop with the kids, and I use magic. And we're like, let's set it up. So the gig was set up in Newmarket, but similar story between myself and what happened with Sandra. The magician would ask for a volunteer, and somebody would come up, and then whatever. Da, da. So the way that he set his body up, the volunteer, the illusion, it was face to face.
Okay.
And so the illusion was created to that person. However, anybody looking off to the side knew exactly how the trick was done.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you have the person in front of you, you're doing the magic trick. They're seeing the illusion. They're like, oh my gosh, they're being blown away. But everybody else is laughing their heads off because they're like, we see exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And so the exact same thing. When I went to this guy, he had toilet paper.
Okay.
Right. And so he was like, okay, I'm going to make this toilet paper disappear. He's like, oh, whatever. Right. And so they were so focused on the hand. This person didn't see the toilet paper being thrown back.
Oh.
Everybody else saw.
Yeah.
And we were all dying. I was like, what's wrong with you? So he would take out another toilet paper. He did it like 12 times. Right. And the person never saw it once.
Yeah.
Because the way, the distractions and all this other stuff. So the fourth step is very key because it's communicate. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I give you this example is because a lot of the times when we're saying something to somebody and we get angry that they're not understanding, we do one of two things, which is the wrong answer. We go louder or we slow it down.
Oh, I hate it's like when somebody finds out that you can't speak English, all of a sudden it's like they're yelling at you as if being louder and slower is gonna make you understand, and you're like
worst thing that you can do. It's so offensive. Number one, you're speaking louder, you're calling them like they can't hear. And then you slow it down, you're calling them stupid.
Oh, it's
I
the worst.
told you the cookies are in the cupboard. And like, it is the worst thing that you can possibly do to any human being, right?
Oh my God.
And so communicate, is figure out how to say the exact same message using different words.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when there's conflict, it's because one or the other party weren't understood because you're seeing the illusion.
Yeah.
And they're not seeing what you're seeing or what you're trying to say. So communication is reiterating what you just said, but finding different words to use.
Yeah.
Right? Which is what you did. When you approached this person and you humbled yourself and like, this is what I meant. And then this person said, well, this is what I meant.
Yeah, and totally. In all honesty, so this is why I appreciated what you said. Accept the fact that you may be wrong, because I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like I will have you know that I was wrong because
Always.
after the
Always. But this is not like a big. This is not news flash. Oh my gosh, we've discovered the cure for. We all knew this.
Okay, but I was wrong because in my effort to not even try to understand, I just went with like whatever I thought was right. When in reality, what they were suggesting was actually a better solution to what had been going on. It was a better use of our time. It was a better use of our resources instead of me being stuck on like the way it always is. Yeah. Right. So I do have to say I was wrong.
Yeah. And again, we all know that.
You're like, I don't understand why this is a surprise to you.
Like, this is not like, oh my gosh, she's discovering the cure for something. No, we knew. We always know that you're wrong. And so then that's communicate. Now here's the other one.
The other C?
The second
last
C.
C.
The last C. The last C is not hard to deliver. It's maybe hard to accept.
Okay, what is it?
Which is compromise. It's being okay that you don't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And walking away, just being okay that you have your own opinion and the person has their own opinion. And I'm telling you right now, 99.999% of the conflicts that are happening in the world right now between left and right, black and white, male and female, straight and not, Christian, non-Christian, is because there's this one party that tries to convince the other party, and then you are wrong. And it's
an either or mentality.
It is an either or. It's like I'm right, you're wrong, and you have to think how I think. And then there's no compromise. Like, you know what? We're allowed to think different. Can we co-live even though in spite that we have different thoughts of the situation?
Yeah.
Right? And so that last C is it's hard to accept and hard to deliver and hard to accept. And so, yeah. So at the end of it, it's just compromise. Can you meet in the middle?
Yeah.
Or-
Can you work a better solution? Is the whole concept of synergy, right?
Yeah.
When you add with synergy, 1 + 1 is not equals 2. 1 + 1 equals it could equal 10,000 because it's the whole thought process that both what I say and what you say can make something even bigger and better than what we said initially.
Yeah. So what is we got here? Hang on.
All right, let's highlight Ed.
So Ed.
Hey, Ed. Good to see you.
No, not for me. Ready? Here we go. So Ed's still living in Alberta. So it's never good to see him. So Ed says here, dang, you guys, now when I really take a leak, I will be thinking of your steps.
100%. I'll make you a better person.
What? This is what I don't agree with, Ed. I will see your faces.
Be listening to your voice when I follow my step. Haha. But seriously, love your analogy. Well, you know what?
This is the grossest compliment that I've ever received in my entire life. When I pee, I'm going to see your face. It's pretty much what he said right now.
Okay, he says, quote from Morgan Freeman, just because I disagree with you does not mean that I hate you. We need to relearn that in our society. 100%.
Thank you.
I think, and always lead by example, right? If we want that understanding, let's give other people that understanding.
Yeah.
I feel like we are so often telling other people to live that when we ourselves struggle with that very same concept.
I agree.
So let's live by example. Let's be kind.
Yeah.
And let's do it.
Let's learn from Ed, except for the last part of going to the bathroom and seeing my face. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. No, I'm telling you right now. I give you permission not to do that.
Except Ed. Ed will gladly do that.
I hope. And I hope I don't get an email saying I just went to the bathroom and thought of you. Ed, you do that, and
Can you
I'm
please
blocking
send
you.
him just like a pee emoji?
I'm blocking you, Ed. I'm forewarning
Some
you
like
right
a
now,
water
dude.
emoji. I'll just, you know what? I'll just send him a water emoji.
Ed, I swear you do that, dude. We're done. We are.
Pee emoji. That's it.
Yeah. This is so gross.
Man.
So yeah, that's leak, right? Listen, have empathy, accept the fact that you might be wrong, which again, kudos to you because I think that's what started your whole progress. Communicate and learn to communicate a different pattern, and then accept the fact that you might be wrong. And those are the
You mean compromise?
the compromise, sorry, and compromise, and then figure out a way to either meet in the middle or just be okay with the other person's decision and not go into full out war with them, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Those are the steps to conflict resolution, people.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me, what was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway.
Sorry, and you guys share there as well and let us know what your biggest takeaway was. Go
So
ahead.
here's my biggest takeaway was what you said. You can't use a tool that you don't have,
Yeah.
which I knew that. Hearing it obviously solidifies everything that I knew, but just really brings to the forefront that the importance of development.
Mm-hmm.
So reading your scriptures in the morning, if you're not Christian or whatever, just finding those sacred texts. Every faith has their different beliefs, but just figuring out a way to develop yourself, whether it be through spiritual reading, whether through personal development, even meditation and yoga, going and just taking your mind
Nature.
somewhere else, nature.
Yeah.
You gotta find a way to personally develop, and you can't use a tool that you don't have. So that's the biggest thing that I learned today. So thank you for that.
So along the lines of what you said, this is not my takeaway, but what it did make me think is a quote from Tony Robbins I just heard recently, and he says, "Change is inevitable, progress is optional." So remember that
Wow, dang.
change is going to happen. You're going to have this conflict. You're going to have these things that are uncomfortable. However, progress, it's not going to happen unless you do something. You are the agent in that situation.
Dang. So what is your? You're being cut
Oh,
off.
cut off. See? Anyway, okay, so my biggest takeaway is what you said with regards to what you do when you walk away and you need that moment to settle.
Yeah.
It made me reflect because I was like, no, man, I think the quickest, the better. But you're right. I think it's always depending on the situation.
Yeah.
It's highly depending on how you feel.
Right.
If you are in a moment of time where you're just like your anger level is next level and what's gonna help the situation is walking away, you have to walk away.
Yeah.
My only thing would be just don't wait too long.
Don't wait too long. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure that like people are sacred. You have to think of people that way.
Yeah.
And when you switch that mindset between you versus me, and you think of everybody as being a sacred human being, I think it changes your perspective and it helps you to want to be better.
Can I tell you one of the biggest BS advice that I've ever heard in my entire life?
Yes, do tell.
And this is, hang on, let's go back to this. Hang on one second before we let you guys go. And it just came up, the thought process just came. And you might disagree with me, and that's okay.
Send him hate mail.
And don't dox me. So that's okay. That's okay. If you disagree with me, that's okay. But this is one of the biggest BS advice that I've ever heard in my entire life.
Okay, do tell.
Don't go to bed angry.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, I agree.
This is the thing is, right?
Remember to know your acronym. Repeat your acronym.
The biggest BS is don't go to bed angry, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're in the fire, when you're in a burning house, so this is the analogy that was given to me, which I 100% agree. When you're in a burning house, right, your prime directive is not to save your possessions. Your biggest prime directive is to get out alive and safe. Not just you, but everybody else in your home. So if this house goes up on fire and flames, whatever, I'm getting the dog out, I'm getting my kids out, I'm getting everybody out, right? Biggest thing. When you go to bed angry, or when you're angry and you're in that fire situation, if you start talking, whatever, and you can't see their point and they can't see your point, and then you are having this conflict and it's not progressing, first of all, at the end of the day, you're running on fumes. You have no energy. You may have a bad day at school or bad day at work. And so you trying to do some of your best work, which is conflict resolution, in the midst of fire when you're tired. Go to bed, relax, sleep. Try it again in the morning when you're firing on all pistons and you've had a night of good rest to relax and just, okay, let's talk about it now. I'm calm now. I feel better. Let's talk, right? So I do see both sides, but if there's no resolution that night, you're going to bed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's just like, then you have to work the next day. You're going to wake up tired and you're going to be even on more edge.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer. Again, you don't have to agree with me. I'm a big believer. Just go to bed, have a good night's rest, pop a melatonin. I don't care. Figure something out. Take a bubble bath. Or even I've seen people even go for a drive. They just go for a drive. They cool down. They calm down. They come back and then they talk about it, right?
I think the only thing that you have to be mindful of is letting your significant other know ahead of time how you deal with conflict.
Agree.
So I would be
agree.
like, if that's the way that you deal with it, by all means, like, you don't want to be spewing fire while you're trying to work this out.
Yeah.
But just in a moment where you guys are not fighting, just give a heads up to your significant other where you're like, hey, when this happens and I walk away, it's not because I don't love you or want to like fix this. It's because I need a moment to cool down and I don't want to hurt whatever's going on any further.
And I think that rule should be set before you fight.
100%. So when you're setting the ground rules, I'm like, discuss that, because then that way the other person, who maybe is a person who needs to resolve it right then and there, doesn't go down the deep end where they're like, oh my gosh, are they walking away? Is this it? Like, are we done? Are we deteriorating? Yeah. Because it's like, I think there's two different kinds of people, but if you tell yourself what kind of person you are at the beginning and then strategize together.
While you're dating, when you're newly married, when you're trying to figure whatever out, like these are the conversations that you should have, right? Hey, by the way, listen, we're not perfect. We're gonna be going past the honeymoon stage eventually.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're gonna be having our first fight eventually, right? Just to let you know, if we're fighting, I'm not the person to sit down and talk about it. I need time to cool off. So if I go to the gym, if I go for a drive, or if I just need to go to bed and then we can talk about it the next day. So I so 100% appreciate and agree with what you said. As you set the ground rules when you're not fighting. And then that way, when the fight does come, the person's like, okay, we'll talk about it in the morning, I guess. Or they're going to go for a drive and they're going to come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just kind of along the lines of what you said, for me, granted, you know that I fight and I have conflict in my life. So knowing that, Mike and I have fought in front of our kids. Yeah. But this is the thing that I had a conversation with them yesterday, because Mike was upset over something and he Yeah, he was like, him and the kids were kind of fighting a little bit. But then after we were all sitting down and having dinner, I was like, hey, like, I want you guys to know that, like, fighting and conflict is normal.
Yeah.
I would never want you to think. And I was like, do you guys know that sometimes people think that, like, fighting in front of your kids is wrong? Disrespecting each other is. But, like, having conflict, not necessarily.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm for it. Because how else are kids going to be able to learn to resolve that when they have their own spouses?
Exactly. They're going to grow up with the beliefs that, like, there must be something wrong. Like,
yeah.
And the only reason why I said that is because I just recently watched this movie with Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
It's so good on Prime. Check it out. I love her so much. Anyway,
sponsorship.
I know. I love you, J-Lo. Please, please, please. Anyway, but one of the things is that both that, like, J-Lo and, like, the guy in the movie, they were having all this conflict, but they were having conflict because the guy, her fiance, thought that it was not normal to fight. So he tried to live up to this like image that his parents gave him of never fighting.
Yeah.
And at the end, they were like, "What? Did you know that your father cheated with like X so and so and like all that stuff?" And they were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Granted, no cheating, no nothing. Like, but it's just that kind of stuff that I'm like, as kids, they need to be aware how to conflict manage, and as parents, as people that were there showing them the way, it's important that we guide them.
And I've seen many marriages hurt because one side, when they first had their first initial fight with their partner, they're caught in this bubble, and it's like they like, I don't know what to do. Like, I've never, and their number one comment, I never saw my parents fight.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, then if the child never saw the parents fight, not that, and I love what you're saying, don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
Right. Do not be smacking the other person around and all these different things. Right. But to have a difference of opinion and then being able to teach your child that, A, in spite of having a difference of opinion, that you still love the person.
Yeah.
And that you've come to a resolution, what freaking better example or life lesson can you teach that child, right?
Yep.
And so when that child, if they've never witnessed conflict, when they have their partner for the first time, they will be devastated. It's like, well, why? I wondered what my parents had.
When it was just an illusion.
It was just an illusion.
It was kind of like the magician, right? They were right in front, and they only saw right there, but everybody else could see the.
Yeah. So healthy arguments and I want to highlight. I don't want to be canceled here. A healthy argument in front of a child, it's not bad. Don't swear. Don't scream.
Yeah. Be respectful.
Don't disrespect. Nothing like that, because that's traumatizing. That's the counterpart. Right?
Yeah.
So.
And if you're not comfortable anyway fighting in front of a kid, that's totally okay. But do share those experiences with your child.
Yeah.
They don't have to be present right then and there, but share them.
Yeah. So let's see how many hate mails we're gonna get after this. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Remember all of this.
Yes.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just follow us. Make sure that you are giving
us some love, man.
Following, sharing, and make sure to. And today's show was sponsored by
Air, Clouds.
We don't have sponsors.
The True Nature. I know, right? But honestly, like and share with someone that you know.
Yeah. Also, Spotify. So we're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and
somewhere else. Amazon? Did you say Amazon?
Yeah, so Amazon. Oh, so Apple, Spotify,
and Amazon.
And
is there a fourth?
There is 4.
Oh, we're not sure what the fourth one is. However,
we're there.
Wherever you listen to your podcast from, we are there. So search us out, From Vision to Success, and we love you. Thank you for spending this last hour with us. I hope you had some takeaways yourself. Do share them with us, and also share these with your loved ones.
Absolutely. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you not next week.
No, this guy's on vacation.
On a cruise right here, baby.
So we're going to come back. Actually, are you away for 2 weeks?
I'm away for 2 weeks.
Okay, so we'll come
March
back
break.
So we'll come back 2 weeks from now, and I can't wait to hear all your fun.
Let's see if all my kids come back with me.
He has 7, so we'll count them back when they come back.
I can afford to get rid of one, right?
Anyway, you guys have an amazing 2 weeks. We'll see you back in 2.
Later, Gators.
Bye.
Got a minute, don't know. Got a minute of your time. Got a minute of your. Hush, you gotta live right, and I'm never gonna let you out of my side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my. my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got. The only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its side. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye.